Let's rank those Sunbelt West coaches. It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Today's episode brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. We will get to the basketball at the end. Arkansas State and App State playing in front of a packed house in Jonesboro. We're not going to update that because the game is not going to be over by the time this is done. And it will be over by the time you see this podcast. So no reason to update it. It looked like Arkansas State got off to a fast start and then the pace slowed down. So that is to App State's advantage. We shall see. It seemed like Arkansas State was a little bit couldn't hit the three early on, but still very early on in the first half. All I cared about is that it was a full house and a little bit later, right? It's a 9 p.m. start time, Eastern time, but an 8 p.m. start time, still about an hour later. Loved that it was a full house in Jonesboro. All right, so we will get to the few basketball games that a couple of them were during the day and one later on, which is going on now actually, and Marshall was actually normal time against Georgia State. We'll get to that one a little bit later on. We'll do the West for today. We'll probably won't do the East until Tuesday is my guess, because we'll recap the basketball from Saturday and we can preview we got Monday's games just because of the whole snowstorm that went through. So when I started doing the West, I think the West is loaded. I think the teams are loaded, and I think the coaches are loaded. In the East, we have two brand new coaches. We have a brand new coach to the West, but he's obviously not a new head football coach. The West does not have a new coach this year, a new head football coach this year. These guys are all experienced. So, and I don't think there's a wide margin between these coaches. All right. Again, somebody has to be first. Somebody has to be last. I don't think there's a gaping hole. I'd say, I don't think there's a big gap between these guys. I'm not even going to give you a number. I don't think there's a big gap in this. I really don't. I don't know if the top guy is going to be controversial or not. I liked what I saw out of all of these guys. I think the record reflects the talent at the school, and we've been over what happened with the first guys. So number 7 is Troy's Jared Parker. Again, I think Troy obviously had a lot of talent leave. It turned over. It didn't only leave, it turned over. And the coaches left. Obviously, the head coach left, but he took a lot of guys with him. The talent turned over. He took a lot of talent with him. And under Jared Parker, a lot of guys got hurt. All right. And we did see some really good news. Chris Lewis is back on the roster for this spring. All right. And we saw Troy, turn a corner, not only play Arkansas State close, but I think they went into Georgia Southern and beat them. Did they take it on the chin against the Cajuns? Sure. Were the Cajuns really good this year when healthy? Yes, they were. So they played really well, I thought, at the end of the year. Even played South Alabama better than I thought they were going to. South Alabama hadn't beat Troy in more than a minute. So Jared Parker, number 7. Again, somebody's got to be last or 7th in this case. I think Troy is in good shape moving forward in 2025 and down the line. Number 6 is ULM's Brian Vincent. I think he did a masterful job this year. They ran out of a little gas. No one could figure out how to stop Ahmad Hardy, right? And that was really the only weapon that they had. Think about that. He led the conference in rushing, and they had no wide receivers. They had not much of a passing game. They won their first 2 ball games this year, and they did not combine for more than 200 yards in passing. That is ridiculous. They played really good defense. I'm not exactly sure what the plan is this year. They have not had a lot of guys in the portal. They have had some guys leaving, so I'm not sure what the plan is moving forward. He did play some footsies with Jacksonville State, but he's back. I like the direction that ULM is moving in. I would like to see some more guys come in the portal. He certainly had a lot of enthusiasm for ULM this year, and they were oh so close to getting into a bowl game. Again, the schedule may have flipped where it was maybe a little bit easier early on, although they beat JMU in Monroe. They beat JMU in Monroe. They took care of JMU. So that was a huge, huge win for the Warhawks. All right. Number 5. And I guess we'll do 4 and 3 here. Number 5. And again, these are all so close. Number 5 is Major Applewhite with South Alabama. His best coaching job may have been in the bowl game. He's got a hurt quarterback. His top running back is transferring out. His top wide receiver is heading to the NFL. So he's got a couple of backup quarterbacks that are going to play for him. I think he did a great job getting his team ready to play in what is a very short period of time. They played in the first bowl game of the season, and he gets Gio Lopez back. I think South Alabama is in good shape. I think they're going to be them and Arkansas State right now are your in clubhouse leaders for preseason Sun Belt West picks. That's what I think. They did have an up and down year. They had a great win against the Cajuns. They did blow one against Georgia Southern at home, right? It could have been a really good year. Got off to a little bit of a rough start, right? Kind of got embarrassed at home against North Texas. And Gio Lopez got banged up, so he didn't play against Ohio. Ohio ended up being really good. So a 1-score game on the road against Ohio doesn't look so bad. Probably could have beaten Arkansas State, but didn't. That game's on the road. I thought Major Applewhite did a really good job in, again, talent turned over, and they found some talent. Unfortunately, they were not able to keep Fluff. That's disappointing, but that's more the sign of the times than South Alabama and Major Applewhite. Again, all these coaches are really, really close. All right, number 4. We'll do the top 3 in the second segment. Number 4, Sun Belt West coach is Butch Jones. He has done an outstanding job at Arkansas State and a little methodical, right? I think he showed up there right before the transfer portal started and NIL started. He's heading into his 5th year. He's had a couple of great classes. He went to a bowl game a couple of seasons ago, won a bowl game this past season. And again, with Jalen Rayner coming back, South Alabama and Arkansas State will be your, I think, Sun Belt preseason picks. I think Arkansas State again, not knowing the defense, and we'll have to listen to all of that, what's back next year. Corey Rucker's coming back. I think Butch Jones has done a great job. We'll see if a Power 5 school comes back. I think he just celebrated his 59th birthday. I don't think he's that old. This is one of those things where I don't want to say sales, and obviously coaching at the G5 level is not easy, but you could be making 7 figures and, win 7, 8, 9 games on a somewhat regular basis, go to a bowl game, and have a really comfortable life. Where you get to that next level, and obviously you're making buku bucks, you miss those playoffs on a somewhat regular basis. We'll find out what Brian Kelly's life is going to be like he misses the playoffs again. Just saying. And Butch Jones knows what that life is like. We'll see if he's interested, if he gets another shot at that. All right, let's take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll name the top 3 coaches in the Sun Belt West. Again, I'm sure we'll have some comments on here. We'll see if they're controversial or not, but these are mine. You're welcome to tell me what yours are. We will do that after I tell you about Game Time. Attending NFL playoff games is an experience like no other. The energy, the excitement, and the connection with other fans are unmatched. I remember the thrill of seeing my favorite team clinch a playoff win live. It's a memory I'll never forget. This year, Game Time makes it even easier to create those unforgettable moments with their new feature, Game Time Picks. It filters out the fluff and shows you only the best deals on great seats so you can focus on what matters, being there. I use Game Time Picks to grab tickets for an event. It was the Carolina-Louisville game, New Year's Day. And it couldn't have been easier. I found a super deal that gave me incredible value for amazing seats, and I could even preview the view from my spot before buying. The all-in pricing is a game changer. No surprise fees at checkout. Plus, knowing my tickets are backed by the Game Time guarantee gave me complete peace of mind. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, Dave Schultz, Lockdown Sunbelt, your teams every day. We will get to the basketball. I think there were, let's see here, were there 4 games today? Or yesterday, as the case may be. There were 4 games. Can tell you the Arkansas State App State is close, a little bit low scoring. So again, you guys are going to know the final before this podcast, before you see the podcast. So I'm not going to tell you what the score is because the podcast is going to be done before that game is final. So, but you won't see the podcast until the next morning. That game is going to be done. I'm confusing myself now. All right. I'm going to be done recording before that game is over. All right. And I'm going to be in bed before the second half is going. All right. So there's no reason to give you score updates when it's going to be you'll know that when that game is over. It is a close, low scoring game. All right. All right. So we've done the top. We've done 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 was Jared Parker. All right. I do think he got Troy going into the right direction. And again, people use excuses and reasons. I'm more of a reasons guy. When you're playing your third string quarterback, it's going to be a struggle. When you've turned over all that talent, it's going to be a struggle. Those are reasons, not excuses. 6 is Bryant Vincent. He got 5 wins really quickly. Couldn't quite get that 6th win for ULM. Number 5 is Major Applewhite. Again, I think maybe his best coaching job of the year was at the end of the year, playing without a lot of his, I think 3 of his top offensive weapons. Starting quarterback, big-time running back, and his wide receiver. And they won the football game. That's impressive. And number 4 is Butch Jones, who has, in this day and age, methodically built what is a Sun Belt West power. All right. So number 3, we are up to the number 3 spot, and he has set a new standard at Texas State by going to 2 straight bowl games and winning the First Responder Bowl. I don't know why he's so mad in this picture. I don't know where I got that picture from. G.J. Kinney of the Texas State Bobcats. He has set the standard for winning at Texas State, for jumping in rivers at Texas State, and for Sun Belt contracts at Texas State. I guess he's making about $2 million per, which is pretty good. They got a bunch of quarterbacks coming in. He has won some bowl games, obviously, and he's only been there a couple of years. He didn't quite live up to expectations for the season when he had the team that he had coming back. Adds the Sun Belt Player of the Year, couldn't quite get it done. He had the Cajuns at home, and you say it's a game of inches. Again, it was a fingertip that probably prevented the winning score, or them going down and getting the winning score. Turned out to be an interception, but a defensive lineman for the Cajuns got a fingertip on it and ended up being an interception. So that's the difference, can be the difference between winning and losing. So GJ Kinney's done a fantastic job, back-to-back 8-win seasons at Texas State. Obviously, and this is what happened to the Cajuns. They kept on having these 8 and 9 win seasons, and it got redundant. Let's see if GJ Kinney can get back to the next level. All right. That's what they're looking for. Sun Belt West titles and playing for a Sun Belt championship. That's what the next step is going to be for Texas State. All right. Having said that, the number 2 coach in the Sun Belt West is Mike Desormeaux. He took over for Billy Napier, who almost left the cupboard bare. Took a lot of the staff with him, took a lot of the talent with him. The talent that he didn't take with him, a lot of those guys left. Ton of talent he had to replace, and he's gone to 3 straight bowl games. Hasn't won one yet. And this, of course, this past season, hosted the Sun Belt Championship game. They were down to their 3rd string quarterback. I'll be the first to say I'm not sure that made a difference. Although maybe if they were playing with Ben Wooldridge, it may have been a different game. I will say that. I'm not sure it would have made a difference if Chandler Fields played in that game. I think Marshall was really good. All right, Marshall was playing really good football. And so I think Marshall would have won that game, may have been closer. But nonetheless, Mike's done a really good job and set a standard. And again, I don't think they've lost a lot of guys, and I think they're getting some guys in. So they've lost some guys. You should see the guys at South Alabama lost in the portal, and the guys that the Cajuns have lost in the portal are going to Power 5. It's not like they are going to lesser schools. Again, if they're getting paid to go to some of these bigger schools, all right, that's impressive. Like, outside of, again, Fluff, I got to say it. Going to Mississippi State. I hope he's getting the bag. You go from a team that can win, and hopefully they offered you some money. I hope South Alabama came and said, we have some money for you, because you're going to maybe the worst Power 5 or Power 4 school in America. All right. I'm just saying. Anyways, I think Mike Desormeaux has done a great job. And I think the Cajuns have lucked out that they got literally the hometown kid and the former quarterback to be their coach, because I don't think he's going to be playing footsies with anybody. I don't think he's going to be taking the example, like, again, if and when John Summerall leaves, like, is Mike Desormeaux going to Tulane? I don't think so. I don't think so. Is $2 million more than $1 million? Yes. Is that a lot of money? Is a $10 million contract more than a $5 million contract? Yes. I don't think Desormeaux would do that. That's my thought. If the $25 million contract or the $15 million contract comes along, then okay. But I don't think he's going to be taking. I don't think he's taking a half a step up. If he takes a full step up, that's different. But otherwise, I think Mike Desormeaux could be a lifer for the Cajuns as long as he keeps on winning. All right. And the number 1 coach in the Sun Belt West, it may or may not be controversial, certainly no secret who it is now, is Charles Huff, Southern Miss Golden Eagles. He went to Marshall, running backs coach from Alabama, and he went to 4 straight bowl games. Went to and left with a Sun Belt championship in his back pocket. I'm very well aware of, well, not everything that went on beyond the scenes. Obviously, they could not come to an agreement for him to stay. For whatever reason, he and his family did not want to stay in Huntington. Obviously, it is what it is. But I think he is a really good football coach. He's done a fabulous job getting kids to come to Hattiesburg, whether they are from Marshall or whatever the case may be. And I think Southern Miss could contend. I think they are right there with the Cajuns. They may be right there with South Alabama and Arkansas State. We'll see. I think Braylon Braxton was probably a really good recipient of that Marshall defense. So we'll see. I know some of that Marshall defense coming with him. There's no Michael Green coming with him. So I think Charles Huff is a really good coach. I think he is the number 1 coach in the Sun Belt West. What do you guys think? I think all these guys are really close. Obviously, Jared Parker and Bryant Vincent have some coaching experience. They have the least amount of head coaching experience. Remember, G.J. Kinney has at least, I think, 2 years at Incarnate Word. It's not much more than that, if it is even 2. And obviously, Major Applewhite coached at Houston for 3 years. I don't think it was much more than that. So he's been a head coach before. So there is some experience there, although Mike Desormeaux was only coached for the Cajuns in 3 years. So Butch obviously has some more experience, and this is Charles Huff's first time. Second time as head coach, but Marshall was his first time as head coach. All right, so those are my head coaches rankings in the Sun Belt West. Charles Huff 1, Mike Desormeaux 2, G.J. Kinney 3, Butch Jones 4, Major Applewhite 5, Brian Vincent 6, and Jared Parker 7. And I don't think there is a huge difference between them. That may be different for the East. We'll have to go through that for probably be Tuesday is my guess. We'll see. All right. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll go over Sun Belt basketball. That happened on, let's get this off of there. That happened on Thursday night. Again, we're not going to go over App State and Arkansas State because the recording is going to be over before that game is final. So you guys are going to know what the score of that game is before you watch the podcast in the morning. So there's no reason to update it. All right, so let's take a timeout. We'll do that right now. All right, a continued thanks. We're almost at 1,850 subscriptions. Have slowed down a little bit. We've done more basketball. We'll continue to get more football. Signing day is coming up. We'll see what gets done then. Probably spring practice is not too far away, and that means softball is lurking. I think the Cajuns are not going to be that good. I think softball may be up for grabs for the first time in a long time. And then baseball is probably less than a month away. Unbelievable. College baseball is right around the corner. So we will get into that as well. And then we'll be, not too far away from spring ball games. So we're all looking forward to that. And of course, everyone's favorite question, who is your starting quarterback? All right. Some of those questions are easy to answer. Some of those are not so easy to answer. So really appreciate it. Remember, tell everybody that you know about Locked On Sunbelt. Really could use those subscriptions. Still looking for 2,025 subscribers. Really do appreciate it. Thanks for everything, guys. All right, David Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Let's go over some of these basketball games. A couple of them were during the day. Georgia Southern and Coastal Carolina actually That game was postponed. That game was supposed to be on a Wednesday night, and that got postponed on Wednesday. The storm came through Statesboro, and they moved that to Thursday afternoon, I think at 1 p.m. And all Georgia Southern 85 to 58. All of a sudden, Georgia Southern has reeled off 3 in a row, and not much of a ball game here. Aaron Banks had 18 for Georgia Southern. Adante Hollyman had 13. A couple of guys, Avante Parker and Bradley Douglas. Bradley Douglas now coming off of the bench. He scored 10 points off of the bench. Georgia Southern actually scored 48 points in the second half. They played really well overall. They shot 11 out of 27 from 3. They made 40% from 3. More importantly, maybe they held Coastal Carolina to just 38% from the floor. They played really well defensively. Joshua Mayo actually led Coastal Carolina with 15 points off of the bench, but easy game for Georgia Southern, 85-58. Georgia Southern now improves to 4-4. Coastal Carolina drops to 1-7. I think I did pick that one. I couldn't remember if I picked this one. I'm guessing I picked Texas State because I just don't think the Cajuns are very good at all. And I think Texas State is better. Texas State over the Cajuns 89 to 74. And this was close at half, but again, Cajuns actually scored a little bit in this one. Defensively, they couldn't stop them. Texas State led at half 38 to 33, but Texas State kind of shot the lights out. 64% from the floor overall. 50, almost 55% from 3, but not that many threes, just 6, 4, 11. Good. And a lot of free throws. I'm sure Cajuns fans not complaining about that. 33 out of 39 from the free throw line. My goodness. Oh, in fact, both teams. The Cajuns were called for 21 fouls. Texas State was called for 18 fouls. This game must have taken forever. They combined for 71 free throws. There was a difference of 8 free throws, and then it was still a 15-point ball game. Texas State was 33 of 39 from the free throw line. Cajuns 25 of 32. Problem is the Cajuns were 5 of 21 from the three-point line, and they shot only 38%, 39% from the floor. Let's see here. Tylen Pope had 25 to lead all scores. Joshua Ogaro had 17 for Texas State. Dylan Dawson had 13. Couple of guys, Austin Green and Caden Gums, had 12 off of the bench. Brandon Hardy led the Cajuns with 15. Mustafa had 12, and that was it for the Cajuns. Kentrell Garnett struggled. 1 for 8, did not hit a 3, 0 for 5. And when that's going to be the case, that's going to be tough. So Cajuns go down 89-74. Texas State now 5-3, and that's important. Maybe can't get a top 2 seed, but can be a top 4 seed in the Sun Belt. That's big. Cajuns drop to 4-4. Game I was able to catch towards the end was Marshall and Georgia State, and doesn't sound like it was close. Marshall wins 92-79, but this game was close with 10 minutes left to go. And in fact, Georgia State was winning this ball game at one point in time by 5 points with 12 minutes left to go, 60-55. They were winning it 60-59 with 9:47 left to go. And then apparently the wheels fell off. That is a 33-19 run to end the ball game in the last 9:47, which is flat out unheard of. Georgia State, just defensively, they struggle. Marshall shoots 53%, 12 and 19 from three. That is 63%. Free throws, there are 18 out of 21. Rebounds was just about the same. Marshall had 10 turnovers to Georgia State's 4. I mean, Georgia State's just not. I mean, points in the paint, Georgia State 42-32. You're trying to figure out how they lost this game. At one point in time, Marshall did lead by 15. I mean, Georgia State just is not stopping anyone from scoring, and they're shooting 42%. So Marshall improves to 5-3. Georgia State drops to 3-5. Quickly, Saturday's action. Again, we won't have any lines for this stuff because they won't come out until later today, as the case may be. So these games, remember, weren't postponed. These are all as scheduled. Big one, among others, Troy hosting South Alabama. South Alabama had a huge lead against Troy, led by 20 at halftime. And actually, South Alabama with a come-from-ahead victory, maybe caught a break at the end of the ball game, got sent to the line. Barry Dunning Jr. made a couple of free throws to South Alabama to eke out a 1-point victory. They're in first place in the Sun Belt, 6-1. Both teams getting a week off, not playing Thursday due to Winter Storm Enzo. Georgia Southern, winners of 3 in a row. Marshall, also, I think, winners of, 3 in a row and 2 in a row and 4 out of 5. So a couple of hot basketball teams in Statesboro. That's a good ball game. App State coming off the game against Arkansas State. I don't know if they've won yet. You guys will know. They're taking on Monroe. Monroe still looking for their first win. That's a tough matchup for the Warhawks. Arkansas State hosting Texas State. So they're going to have to get back up, whether they win or lose. They'll have to get back up for the Bobcats, who had a relatively easy win against the Cajuns. See if James Madison. They're coming off a win on the road, going up against Georgia State. Old Dominion going in the wrong direction after that big win against South Alabama. They're hosting Coastal Carolina, also going in the wrong direction. And see if Southern Miss can get a win on the road. They're struggling as long as with the Cajuns. So not great there. Quickly, the standings. Again, South Alabama is leading the way. 6-1. Arkansas State and App State, they're going at it, tied for second. So the winner is going to be solo second. The rest will be tied with Marshall and Texas State at 5-3. Trojans are 4-3. Remember, South Alabama, Texas State, Southern Miss, and ULM will all play on Monday. Georgia Southern, JMU are 4-4. Old Dominion 4-4. Cajuns are 4-4. Southern Miss 3-4. Georgia State 3-5. Coastal Carolina 1-7. Monroe is 0-7. All right. Really appreciate you guys hanging with me, and have a great weekend. We'll want to hear what you guys think about the Sun Belt West coaching rankings. Again, I think it's really close. I'm not sure you could intertwine 1, 2, and 3. Maybe you could. I think it's just really close. I don't think there's a gaping hole between 1 and 5. I don't think so. All right. Might want to hear what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. We will do Sun Belt East. Could do it Monday, or maybe a bonus episode this weekend. Actually headed to Murray State to see a couple of former Cajuns administrators who are now doing a great job. Aren't they the Racers? Murray State Racers. John Morant's on the line. So we're going down there, taking a road trip down there. All right. Thanks very much for tuning in. You've been watching Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll talk to you again on Monday.